Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Lee, aka Rollin Thunder. So sit back, relax, grab yourselves a cup of tea, and let us get into the video. Have you guys been surviving, getting back to work and everything else? I've been working since the 1st of June, and let me just tell you, it's been fucking horrible. All this fucking lovely weather we've been having, and I've been stuck at work. I've been back to work since the 1st of June, so as you can imagine, it's been a right roll fucking nightmare. But this weather we're having, holy shit. I have no idea how you lot in America deal with this weather. How do you guys cope with it? I mean, I'm not even wearing my proper leathers or anything like that. I am sweating like a pig. The sun is that hot on my back that you could like do a full fucking roast dinner on it. But you know what? It's not raining, so I shouldn't complain. I'd like to talk about the one that got away. And what I mean by that is the bike that I should have kept. All them years ago, the bike that I should have, you know, cherished and looked after a lot more. And that bike is my, well, was my 748. I had that bike for probably on and off, because I had two different generations of it. On and off for about maybe 8 years. And believe it or not, I absolutely loved that little thing. I mean, I know a 750 ain't exactly small, but you know what I mean. You know when you just have a bike or a car or something in your possession that you really wish you hadn't got rid of? That's basically how I feel about my 748. Oh, pardon me. With the benefit of hindsight, I really wish I kept it. I really do. But you live and learn, I guess. That 748 was probably the best little handling bike I've probably ever owned. Okay, it was very old technology, but you know what, I would still quite happily have that, not necessarily over this, but definitely over a 959 or an 899 without a shadow of a doubt. I would take a 748 over any of the latest crop of super mids. I would take my 748 over any 899, 959. I'd take it over a Gixxer 600, Gixxer 750. You know, I would take that over any of them. I really would. And it might sound balmy, but with a 20-year-old bike, you know what you're getting. With a brand new bike, you're not quite sure. With a 20-year-old bike, you know, it's got the miles on it, it's had the braking in period and all the rest of it. So you know what to expect. I'll be honest, I've never ever owned a brand new bike. If I was to go down that route of getting a brand new bike, and I bought either a V2 or a V4 or any of the new bikes that are out on the market these days, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what to do with it. If someone said to me, oh yeah, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do the other, as soon as they've said it, I'd be like, what? Hey? I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bruv. What are you saying? It's a weird one. I've never owned a brand new bike. I've never ridden a brand new bike, if I'm honest. Ducati, if you ever watch my videos, please re-release the 748 or even the 916. Either one of those, just please re-release it, you know, as a once in a lifetime bike. Please release it again. It was such a beautiful machine. It was such a glorious bike to ride. It was a glorious bike to own. You know when something just has a really special place in your heart? I dare say it's probably going to be people saying, oh, you know, you don't want a 748, you want this, you want that, you want the other. But I'm sorry, but it's not about what you want, it's about what I want. I know people are going to slate me left, right and centre for saying this, but I really don't care. I loved that 748 and I loved how it rode. I loved the handling. Yeah, okay, the suspension was a little bit archaic, but I don't care. That 748 for me epitomised handling, it epitomised corner speed, it epitomised really good brakes. It did everything I could ever ask of it and more. The 748, in my opinion, was the epitome of small capacity superbikes. You know, it handled amazingly well, it had a good amount of power. I think at last guess, or last check, sorry, when I had my 748, I think it had somewhere in the region of about 110 bhp. Nothing massive, but not like compared to the bikes of today. It really did epitomise everything about Ducati. The styling was amazing. The chassis was amazing. Okay, like I said, the suspension was a little bit archaic, but then again, 20 years ago things were a lot more archaic. The bike was worth it. By today's standards, it is slow, not very powerful, but in its defense, it more than made up for it in agility. I was able to put my bike in places that the bigger capacity bikes couldn't even dream of. Many years ago, when I used to go riding with a friend of mine called Ethan, he had a 916 Senna and a 916 track bike, and his track bike couldn't even keep up with me. In the twisties, not a hope. Straight line speed, different story. But even then, there wasn't that much between us. Okay, the 916 technically had a 1000cc engine. Okay, technically my 748 had a 750 engine. But you know what? It made no difference. We had identical chassis, identical forks, identical rear shocks, identical wheels, swing arm length. You know, everything was almost identical apart from the capacity. It got to a point where he used to get really fed up of me being in front when we were out riding somewhere. It's like, if I knew where we were going, that was it, I was off. If I didn't know where we were going and he was leading, I would be so close to him I could literally grab him. It was amazing. And I would get asked questions like, oh, how are you doing that? How are you doing that? Your bike's smaller than mine. How are you keeping up? It's like, dude, it handles, innit? And it quite literally was that. You know, if the bike handles well, you can keep up with anyone. And it was like it was on fucking rails. Like I said, okay, fine, I didn't look after it as well as I should have done, but that's experience for you. Now that I'm a lot more experienced, I'm a lot more observant on the road, I'm a lot more observant when it comes to noises the bike makes and stuff like that. I'm far more not agricultural with my thought processes or anything. I'm just a lot more vigilant. There you go, that's the word I was looking for, vigilant. I'm a lot more vigilant. It's like, if you remember when my bike died on me underneath me, I didn't put a video out about it until after it happened, but when I was actually on the bike, because I'm so in tune with it now, I can hear and feel certain things which weren't quite right, and I was like, no, that doesn't feel right at all, I don't like this. I think this guy wants to race. We'll soon see. Honestly, hand on heart, the 748, absolutely blinding bike. For its age and for its cc capacity, I honestly don't think in the last 20-25 years there's been a better bike that handles for its, you know, its cc class. And yes, okay, there are going to be people that say, oh no, you're talking bollocks, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, fine, you have your opinion, I'll have mine. It's no great shakes, do you know what I mean? If I had my time all over again, I quite happily would get another 748. Simple, plain as. There would be no ifs, buts or maybes. It'd be like, boom, if I had £5 spare, done, buy another 748 all day long. And yeah, okay, there are bikes on the market now that are more superior, got more power for their cc, got this, that and the other, whatever. But you don't need to have a lot of power to enjoy a bike. I mean, I know there's going to be people out there that will say different, but me personally, 150, 160 bhp is enough. And there's me saying I want to get a V4. I don't do myself any favours, do I? But given the opportunity, I would, without a shadow of a doubt, buy another 748. No, absolutely no quibbles whatsoever. None whatsoever, my friends. But anyway, how's everyone doing with the whole COVID-19? I hope you're being safe and well. Not that you can do much in this day and age, but it is what it is. But anyway, guys, as always, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for sticking around and watching the videos. I hope you like what you see and you want to see more, because there will be a lot more coming soon. So please, as always, make sure you tap that bell, give a like, give me a sub. It's all greatly appreciated. But for now, this is me, Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, saying look after yourselves, look after each other, be safe on the roads, and as always, adios!
You ready?